Hello, Rob here from the Flanagan Homestead. I'm developing my Spring Hill Campground, and one thing I'm learning and I want to talk about today is mostly rock and how much rock it's going to take bare land and put some roads in and have access to it, and how much rock it's going to take. So behind me here I have 5 more truckloads of rock that were just delivered, so I'm going to be spreading this today. But I've already had probably 15 full dump truck loads of rock delivered before today, so I'm on to about 20 loads now, approximately $200 a load. So I'm about $4,000 in. I am nowhere near being done buying rock. So obviously how many roads you're trying to put in and what the ground is like affects that. But so just so you have an idea, this property had a logging road up here and the dump trucks couldn't get up the first time. And so they had me drop 2 loads of rock just to repair the road up to this spot that I'm standing on now. We graded all this out and I put 3.5 inch minus on this. It was fairly firm, so that's all I need, but I have not done 1.5 inch or a 5/8 minus for the top coat. I'm nowhere near that because I'm still going to trench a septic line through and whatnot, so I don't want to even think about trying to make it nice and neat yet. But there will be finished rock, smaller rock later on. You can see off in the background I've started my bathroom, and there was no road up there. This was just all brush and everything, so I've built a road back there that goes across the little creek, and so I've been putting 3.5 inch minus on there so I could drive my truck back there and get stuff done. But it's nowhere near the amount of rock that you'd recommend for a full road, but there's not going to be that much traffic. But I'm going to keep adding it, and I've got a couple loads of 3.5 inch minus, which will go on some of the firmer ground. That'll be enough there. And then I've got what we call gabion or pit run, so that's rock up to 8 inches, almost volleyball size. And so it's pretty much between 3 and 8 inches, and it's a bigger rock. And so where I'm creating new road, and there might have been a little bit of fill there or a new space or softer ground, I'm going to put that in, and that's going to firm it up. So rock 300 feet that way, and I have rock 300 feet that way, but they can only really get it right here. Fortunately for me, I was able to purchase my excavator, so that, I can move it around to get it up that road. When it got dry last week for just long enough to do it, I put my small dump trailer on, loaded up my dump trailer, and was able to take rock out there, drop it, and then drive my excavator up there and spread it around. But it's a long process, and it takes a lot of rock. So if you're going to be developing new land, factor that in there. I have a friend that's doing a similar project, and he's a landscaper, and he has a commercial driver's license, and he gets wholesale prices. But he's like, Rob, I'm already $20,000 into rock, and he was driving the rock back and forth himself. It wasn't someone delivering like I am. So if you're going to open up new land, factor in a lot of money for rock. So here's my 3.5 inch minus. I got 3 more truckloads of that, and here's my pit run or gabion, big old boulders that are going to firm up the ground a lot better. Usually this is recommended for the first thing you put down. Coming up the road here, here's the only structure I'm going to have in the short term, but we're hooking up the power there, and there's going to be a bathroom there. And this goes up to another camp spot. And I know that I'm going to have some storage in here. So I'm going to want to be able to park my truck here and not block people if they want to go through. So I'm going to be widening this section out here so I can pull my truck over the side and people can get through, or park my excavator and clean it up with the water access that's here. So I'm going to have to put some larger rock in here to firm this up so that we can park on it solidly. Here's a brand new road that I put in, wasn't here before, and it meets up to the old logging road and goes up to a beautiful campsite spot up there. But there's no rock here as well. I'm going to have to get some on there. This was exceedingly soft because it's all new fill. If you watched my video on mixing cement in there and firming up the ground, I did that in this section, and it's been holding up good. But I didn't do it as much down over here because the ground was firmer. But as I've been trying to bring rock in here, you can see I'm digging trenches with my tires, and I'm going to get some bigger rock in here But I was happy to get some rock across the creek the other day. It's not much yet, but I wanted to get just enough so during the winter here I could drive across and just not be spinning out on wet clay. Gonna hopefully get more here today. One of my first orders of business today is my electrical trench. Went right through here. You can probably see where it's a little bit bumpier. This whole area is pretty solid, but then I trenched it, filled it back in, and it's been soft because of how wet it is, and it keeps getting turned up. So I'm gonna take a little bit and just put a thin layer of the larger rock on top of that and try to pack it in. And not that you can't drive on this right now, but there's a little bit soft spot there and it keeps turning up. So just a single layer of the bigger rock, I'm going to pack that in there hopefully, and that'll help firm this whole area back up. It might be against my better judgment because it's so wet out here today, but I'm going to hook up my smaller trailers behind the truck there, 5x10, because I can get it down tighter roads and turn it around and get it out. But I'm going to load up a bunch of rock and try to drop it on the other side of the creek, be able to turn around and fill in those spots. I do have a 7x14, but I don't have enough room to turn around. But here's another place that just uses up rock on your property. This is the old logging road, and I just wanted a place to park my trailers, so I graded this out, and then it's turned to mud, so I put a bunch of rock here too. So once again, just using up the rock. And here's my 5x10 trailer we're going to hook up. So that's a lot of weight for the soft road I'm going to be driving down, and then hopefully dump this on and smooth it out. One more place I'm trying to get rock. My road goes up here to the campground and it turns to the left, and then you got to swing back the other way to get to the bathroom area and the other road. So I'm trying to make this road so we'll go straight up. You can see where my pickup is in the back there, just barely. Straight up this way, and won't have to go into the area where the RVs are. Because this was trenched for power, it's really soft. I'm afraid I'm going to eat a lot of rock here. Probably should put some mats down or something that will keep the rocks from sinking, but eventually I want this road to go straight up the hill towards the pickup there. So today's takeaway on developing property, in this case my campground, if you're going to develop property out in the woods and you're going to cut into the ground and put a new road in on bare earth, be prepared to put in a lot of rock. I mean a lot of rock, and the expense of moving the rock and then moving it around on your property. So I'm 20 truckloads in right now and I've got a lot more to go, but it's looking good. And thanks for joining me on the Flanagan Homestead, where Christmas trees are my business, teaching including horticulture is my job, and outdoor projects like developing this campground are my passion. Hope to see you again soon.